Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier with your Mike's Instant Movie Review. I just saw Running the Bases. So I don't know if you would call this a independent film or a low-budget film, perhaps. Maybe not a huge budget, but well-made movie. I say it's probably not a high-budget thing because simply because there wasn't some name actor, like a Jamie Foxx or a Harrison Ford or Katy Perry, or name your famous A-list actor, The Rock, whatever. But that being said, very good acting in this movie. The story was interesting too. First off, it's a baseball story, only in a sense that baseball is kind of the backdrop for bigger issues, including life and death, fathers and sons, husbands and wives, and also the mix of religion with the state, I guess, or the public school system. So some heavy themes here. Kind of a movie chopped full of stuff. A lot of stuff going on in this movie. Long movie too, 2 hours and 7 minutes. But I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was, how do I put this? This is a Christian film, which doesn't mean they don't check your status as you enter the theater. They don't look for ID that, so you can see it. You can see the movie. If you're a Muslim or a Christian or whatever the fuck you are, you can see the movie. You don't have to pass through a protocol, okay? That being said, it was interesting because a lot of times I see these Christian movies and they almost kind of like subvertly put the Christian stuff in the background, like it's pretty buried, and then you kind of wonder a little bit, at least I do, some of these Christian films, if the Christianity is kind of like an add-on, like they just had some regular script and they added the Christian stuff, like they put a Christian hat on a script in order to get it made or financed. I don't think that was the case with this one, because the story, I believe it said based on true events of some kind. The story was so interwoven with the faith, so to speak, that it was really an integral part of the whole storytelling process. Henceforth, interesting stuff. Some really interesting characters in this thing. The lead guy, I thought, was very strong, very sturdy. The lead character, basically what happens, and I guess, yes, you should see the movie, but now we go into the spoilers, where I say spoilers, which gives you the alarm clock that if you think you're going to go see Running the Bases and you don't want to be spoiled, what I advise you do is go see the movie, stop watching my video now, and when you finish the film, come back to me and compare notes with what I'm saying, okay? So basically this story has kind of two time periods. They're not really illustrated, from my memory, if the first time period was the 80s or the 90s or the whatever the fucks. But basically you have two teenage brothers. It's unclear if they were, maybe they said it, but I forgot, or I didn't hear it, if they were fraternal twins, perhaps, or as they say, Irish twins, meaning that there was like 9 or 10 months in between the births of the two sons. But basically these two sons, growing up, they love fishing. They have kind of a tomboy gal pal they both hang out with. And they're just good old boys in Arkansas, meaning no harm. They love baseball, although that's really just spoken of for a few minutes. And then, unfortunately, what happens is, I think they said the older brother, so I don't know if they were like Irish twins. If you're not familiar with that term, look it up. But basically, the older brother is running the bases, and he has a sudden heart attack at the age of 17 or 18, and he has a heart attack and he fucking dies. So within the first 10 minutes of the movie, you got a dead guy, and it's revealed that unfortunately his brother, who watches his own brother die along with their parents, very sad, the brother also has this mysterious heart ailment, whether it's a heart murmur or whatever, a heart condition that basically prohibits him from playing baseball, because You know, he can't run the bases at full speed all the time because he risks having a heart attack like his brother and dying. So the kid's very upset. His mother's upset. Everyone's upset. But life must go on. And we kind of, you know, find out the kid goes off to college. He goes to some Christian school, some Christian college. I'm assuming it's a real place. He marries this sweetheart, the tomboy. Is it tomboy or tom girl? Whatever the fuck. The girl, who she kind of has a cool gimmick where she's always wearing a hat, but she spins it around backwards like Rocky, or like over the top Stallone when she's upset. So that comes into play later. And she's, you know, the actresses that they had play that character, because they do two time things, because they advance the story 20 years. And so both actresses are pretty attractive, which always helps. And good actresses. Then you kind of, and they looked enough like each other. Like, that's one thing with movies that they have when they have big time breaks and they cast two actors for the same role at different stages of life. I'm always one to kind of discern and decipher. Did they do a good job with casting? And that's tough too, because, you know, you're trying to cast great actors for your movie, but if they're supposed to be the same character at different ages, you want some semblance that they could be the same person. And I think for the most part they pulled that off pretty well with this. Interestingly enough, the parents from the first part of the movie, like the first 15 or 20 minutes, they are gone for the second part. So I don't remember, I don't recall them saying anything like the parents have passed away or they've died or whatever the fuck, but they're not there anymore. So basically the guy who couldn't play baseball, Luke, I think is his name, he is now a coach. He's a high school coach. He's led this Arkansas State team to 9 championships. And he gets a sudden visitor from a man in a suit, a gray-haired man in a suit, who offers him a higher paying job, twice the money, at a I think they call it 6A. I guess that's the big division or whatever, in Texas, Tejas, once again, Texas. So I really didn't know that there was all these like differences between Arkansas and Texas, but apparently there is, because that's spelled out. I've been seeing a lot of these Texas movies. I did see the movie Unfavorable Odds last week that was also filmed in Texas. And it's nice that some of the actors watched my review, although they may not have fully enjoyed my review, but they did watch it. I appreciate them checking in. The guy that played Wes made a nice comment. So anyway, and as you may or may not know, I'm scheduled to go to Texas myself in a matter of days at this point. Going back to this movie review, Mike's Instant Movie Review, many of the films that have come out in the last 3 or 4 years, you can see my Mike's Instant Movie Reviews 3 billboards over wherever the fuck. I predicted Frances McDormand would win an Oscar, and she did, so I'm pretty good at this stuff. Going back to this movie review, interesting, he becomes the coach of this Texas team. He gets his own son on the team. Now he's got a son himself. He gets a son on the team. The son is reluctant to move from Arkansas to Texas because that's all he's ever known. But then he sees a hot chick in school and suddenly he's fine. So that always makes sense. And then what becomes also an interesting thing is that there's a character who is the son of the recruiter. The superintendent of the district is the guy that recruited him, the mystery man in the suit. So that guy's son, who's kind of a stocky guy, like a big guy, he's on the baseball team, and he's also a cut-up, meaning he's a jokester, he's a prankster, he's a comedian, and his character's name is Ryan. And I thought that kid, that both the character and the actor, I thought worked really well for this. Very charismatic, I'll give the guy credit, and it looked like he kind of took the ball and ran with this thing. And what I found was kind of interesting, do you mind? I'm doing Mike's Instant Movie Review. What I found was kind of interesting here was that the movie kind of went off in different directions that you weren't necessarily expecting. For instance, the Ryan character has these has a dream sequence about this girl. For a moment, I thought he was having a dream sequence about the coach's wife, because the women look kind of similar. Like, I don't know, maybe all white people look alike these days to me. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I thought like the coach's wife and the girl that Ryan was fantasizing about were kind of the same, but they weren't. That's one thing I could say, that had this movie been subject to some type of Hollywood screenwriting course or something, they might say that the point of view of this film kind of wandered a bit, because at first we think it's about the central character of Luke, the coach. Then we're thinking, like, and like 40 minutes into it, it's like, is Ryan stealing this movie? Like, this kid that I thought was going to be a supporting character, suddenly Ryan's getting baptized, he's reading the Bible, he's doing all this stuff, and he's not even in the main family of this movie. So, but I guess he's kind of the Luke Skywalker of this thing. He's Darth Vader's son, so to speak, because it turns out the guy in the suit turns out to be pretty much the antagonist of this movie. He does this ritual, the coach, Luke, he runs the bases. That's where you get the title for this movie. Running the bases as his little tribute to his dead, deceased brother. It's kind of a weird tribute, actually, because if you're running the bases, that's how your brother died, but we'll go with it. So this comes under scrutiny from the man in the suit, and he doesn't like that his son Ryan's been pressured, in his opinion, to turn Christian or whatever the fuck. So we have all this conflict. We have jail scenes. We have kind of a quick jail buddy story, like a montage. Sometimes these movies, they cram in too much stuff. Like I have that term, 12 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag. This movie might be a little bit of a victim of that, maybe 11 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag. Because suddenly they have like this buddy love story, Save the Cat, Blake Snyder for that reference. They have this thing in this movie where like this Luke goes to prison, Coach Luke, and he befriends this other inmate, and suddenly they're having like this, male bonding story, and then he gets beat up. And all these, but a lot of loose ends come together. I think they did a really nice job weaving the tapestry of this world. What I did like about this movie, and I know there's other big movies playing, Woman King and so forth. I will be seeing all these movies. The David Bowie thing is playing. To be honest, what attracted me to this movie today, I had a gamut of other things to do, but physically I just was having a bit of a physical feeling of not feeling up to anything. So I said, well, let me at least go to the movies, and maybe that'll get me back on track. And I think it did. And, going to the movies sometimes is a nice way to kind of recharge your batteries. And also, to be quite honest, I had a feeling that at 1:50 in the afternoon on a Monday, there would not be many people in this theater, and there weren't. So basically I had the theater to myself, which was good, because then I could relax in full comfort and take off my sandals and so forth. So I enjoyed it. The movie, was good. It was impressive. Good audio. I did have some things last week where I kind of went into the aspects of that Unfavorable Odds film suffered from like the low budget audio issues. This film did not suffer from any of those. And I really don't know what their budget was, to be honest with you. I'm just speculating because of the lack of like a huge Hollywood name. It was probably a modest budget, maybe 500,000, I'd guess, maybe $1 million. But I probably, if I had to guess the budget on this thing, I'd say 750,000. But yeah, I like the movie, and there you have it. So if you're a baseball fan, so here's the thing with these Christian movies. It's like, I know a lot of people probably don't want to see them because they don't know, there's no big stars, there's no planet getting blown up, but and then you feel like you don't want to get preached to, and I get that, but I'd say this movie has more to it than that. But like I also said, this movie does have more of the Christian faith spelled out and illustrated in scenes more than some of these other Christian movies. So you be the fucking judge. You do what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do. But I give this movie a thumbs up. Mike Messier, subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Go to MikeMessier.com, and scroll to the bottom and buy all my books. Distance from Avalon, my Art and War of Directing Independent Films books, also good for actors. A Distance from Avalon, Fight or Play Basketball, my wonderful sports story, Mike Messier.